What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shockwave48 here. Welcome back to a brand new video. And today we got ourselves a new chapter of My Hero Academia. Chapter 390 is here. So we get to see how it all ends for Dabi and the whole Todoroki family, how it ends, and let's see what's gonna happen. I mean, I really want to see what's gonna happen. Is Toya's gonna be saved or is he gonna die? I mean, I'm pretty sure know which way it's gonna be, but we're gonna find out for sure. But before we get started, quick reminder: if you're watching today's video, make sure you guys hit that like button, give it the thumbs up. And if you want to support the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button along the way and turn on those notifications while you're at it. All right, with that being said, guys, let's get right to this chapter.
Hey guys, it's Pineapple, and we're here with the events of My Hero Academia Chapter 390. We're going to talk about the full spoilers and everything that happens in the chapter. So shout out to Rukusu, and let's get right into it with the chapter, the title being Shoto Todoroki Rising. And anytime that we see Rising in the title next to a character's name, this is definitely going to be a very big chapter for that character, right? We've seen that even as early as Momo rising early on in the series, so let's see what Shoto has to offer in this chapter. According to Rukusu, the chapter begins with Ida's legs reaching their limit and him telling Shoto that he can only take him so far. And on the page, that is in fact what we see, with Ida's engines looking like they're literally just completely blown out and him looking like he's about to pass out, as Shoto looks really calm and focused using his phosphor technique and building it up as the two kind of ride this weird giant ice jet that Shoto has formed. From here, it's like Ida wants to give Todoroki a proper send-off, so they go max speed for a second here with them bursting through the town like we saw last chapter, and we see in the area where Tsukauchi and all the police are who are actually watching this, they're entirely shocked because the two boys are apparently going at transonic speed, which is a speed right before you hit faster than the speed of sound, meaning they're going incredibly fast, right at that barrier of like maximum speed in this verse. So as Ida falls down, not able to continue on anymore, and we see Shoto kind of bouncing on the ground and realizing he has to keep going, he propels himself using his phosphor technique. And Tsukauchi, watching these two boys struggle, right? Watching them actually making their way to the most dangerous place that there is, this giant explosion that Dabi is about to cause, he thinks that All Might might have finally become a good teacher, right? Because that's been a big meme throughout the series. All Might's not necessarily the best teacher that there is. But here in this moment, seeing the result of what he taught these two, Tsukauchi can finally give All Might his respect. Like, wow, whoever taught these two, you're amazing. It's at this point where Ida thanks
Shoto's on a
Shoto
whole
for
nother
allowing
level
him to become
here.
his
I
ideal
like
self,
it.
and that's why he wishes for Shoto to also become his ideal self. And this is when a narration starts showing exactly what it was that Shoto wrote in his letters to his mother earlier on in the series when she was locked away in that facility. And as this is all being narrated, we see Shoto running and doing everything that he can to get to Dabi as quickly as possible. In Shoto's letters to his mom, he says he's giving his best every day to reach his classmates' level. He's even been practicing conversation. These conversations have led to many conflicts, but the resolutions of said conflicts has allowed him to understand other people's feelings. His friends feel anger and even cry for strangers, and he also wants to be like them. And this just paints a really sad picture for the Shoto who we knew originally at the very beginning of the series, because we did see Shoto change a lot from who he used to be to who he is now. But seeing these private letters between him and his mom and his entire viewpoint on the entire class, and how even though most people thought he was the most advanced in the class, he looked at them like he still had a lot to learn from them, it's just really sweet, honestly, and it feels like the perfect thing to include as the series is coming towards its end. It's here where we cut back to Dabi and Endeavor as rays of light start shining from all over Dabi's body, and he is about to explode. However, in that moment, we see every single member of the Todoroki family turning around and realizing that Shoto is here. Shoto finally gets close enough to the rest of the family and thinks to himself that if Dabi's origin was really something so simple, they could have solved it a long time ago. And as Dabi is right about to explode, Shoto uses his great glacial technique
Dang.
again that he used in their previous fight. And when Shoto does this, his eyes go completely white, his mouth goes completely open as it looks like he's expending all of his energy here. And when this technique goes off, it looks like a giant mountain of just white just appears in front of him, clashing with Dabi's fire, and it entirely wipes it all away. In the flash, we see that everyone is still watching, from news crews to the helicopter to people all over, including Endeavor's biggest fan. But despite everyone's shock and everyone's hopes and everyone going crazy over what's happening, we see the Masagaki students are just smiling. And as everyone continues to look on, we see the massive fire dome that Dabi had previously formed, that everyone was running away from, actually just disappearing into a large cloud of smoke. As the smoke begins to clear, Shoto realizes that the rest of his family is also there, saying that this is a good thing because his ice attack alone wouldn't have been enough to stop Dabi, because apparently Dabi's fire was even hotter than in their last fight. But I feel like this is definitely Shoto being humble to a certain extent, because it didn't seem like the other Todoroki family members were really doing much once Dabi actually started to go. And then in that moment, as we see Dabi laying down on the ground and Shoto standing above him with his hand out facing him, Shoto screams out that this proves that he can't do everything by himself, so he's not a masterpiece at all. It's at this point where Toya regains consciousness, saying, "You guys," and then starts saying that everyone should die, including himself. And as Natsuo looks at Dabi and realizes the ice that's inside of his chest, meaning that Dabi also has an ice quirk, Natsuo questions his brother and what he's gonna do next, because all that awaits him is a hellish life, even though he did survive. Endeavor then apologizes for not going to Sokoto Peak, but Toya says that he hates all of his family, and in response to that, Endeavor wants to know all of Toya's feelings, as Endeavor crawls over with his one arm and places his hand on his son's chest. As he does this, Endeavor apologizes to Rei for all of the abuse that she faced. He apologizes to Fuyumi for pushing all of the responsibilities in the family onto her, and he apologizes to Natsuo for abandoning him. However, when he goes to say something to Shoto, he just mumbles, "I'm sorry," and apparently loses consciousness. So it seems like we did manage to save Dabi physically, like his body isn't going to completely crumble away, but mentally, he is still in that exact place that he was in before, right? Where he hates every single member of his family, and he doesn't want anything to do with them, thinking that they all should have just died in this instance. So he definitely has major regrets, and he's definitely not smiling here, and that's going to tie into the final page of the chapter, where we cut to Toga in her kind of twice copied form, as she sees that the flames over in Dabi's area have gone out, and she remembers Dabi's words from before when he told her that the sun's gonna come up tomorrow, so no matter what, all they should be able to do from now on is smile, and her eyes get teary as Toga wonders, "Toya, were you able to smile?" But in front of her, Ochako looks very determined as she gets dogpiled by a bunch of Twice clones, and this is leading many people to believe it might be finally time for us to see Ochako's quirk awakening. But that's not gonna be next week because My Hero Academia is on break.
Okay, that's the end of that chapter. It's official, guys. Toya is now saved and he's been defeated. Although he's pretty much iced up and beat up, but still, he is pretty much, saved. So they were able to save his life from being exposed. So that's good. It's good that the Todoroki family did something, right this time. But now that that's settled, now that Toya's done for, we move on to where, the other battles happen. So right now on the next chapter, we're going to see how Uraraka Quirk Awakening is going to be. I don't know what it's going to be called or what she's going to do next. Pretty much she's going to do everything she can to get rid of these Twice clones and probably say Toga at this moment. But as far as that, is Toga going to change? Is she going to become the good guys? I'm not for sure. I mean, she's been evil since she was a kid, and she tried to change, but she just didn't know how to handle it. But we'll see, because we got some time. We're on break, and that's respectful because Horikoshi is doing what he can to finish up this whole My Hero Academia season. So yeah, and all these chapters. So we got time. So we gotta wait till next week, guys. This week. All right, folks. That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.